Imagine walking into a crowded room, voices buzzing, laughter echoing, and instantly commanding attention without uttering a single word. You're not loud or flashy, yet every eye turns toward you, captivated by an undeniable magnetism radiating from your quiet confidence. How is this possible? In today's hyper-connected, fast-paced world, true charisma isn't about making the most noise, it's about the subtle art of silent attraction. Inspired by timeless wisdom from the Stoics, this video will unravel the hidden secrets behind becoming irresistibly magnetic without ever compromising your authenticity. If you've ever felt overshadowed in social circles or struggled to make your presence felt, you'll want to watch every second until the astonishing conclusion, where every piece clicks into place, transforming your understanding of influence forever. And remember, to keep uncovering more life-changing strategies, make sure you subscribe to our channel and join the community dedicated to deeper, richer living. We live in a time when constant noise often defines our everyday existence. There is no shortage of demands on our attention: social media notifications, incessant news cycles, and well-intentioned advice on how to stand out in a crowded room. This can become overwhelming, to say the least, as we're repeatedly reminded that we need to speak louder, act bigger, or broadcast ourselves more widely to be noticed. In this environment, the concept of silence, not just an absence of noise but a deliberate, intentional stillness, can seem both radical and underappreciated. Yet if we look back through history, we find that profound thinkers have long championed the power of silence, especially the ancient Stoics. They understood that in a world saturated by clamor, genuine strength often arises from quiet composure. Imagine entering a crowded gathering or workplace without feeling compelled to display bravado or shout the loudest story. Picture the effect when your very presence commands respect, not through outbursts of attention-seeking, but through a calm that speaks volumes. This is the heart of silent attraction, an approach to connection and magnetism that rests on the ideas of Stoic philosophy. Through the Stoic lens, the notion of stillness is not synonymous with passivity. Rather, it is a disciplined steadiness that draws people toward you like a gravitational pull. As Seneca once stated, "Silence is a lesson learned through life's many sufferings." Within that quote lies a compelling truth. Practicing quiet confidence is by no means an easy path, but it is one that fosters both tranquility and respect. This approach is a stark contrast to modern advice that exhorts us to be unceasingly visible, even if it means parading false personas or forcing ourselves to conform. Instead, Stoicism encourages us to ground ourselves in virtuous action, clear thinking, and inner fortitude. In so doing, our behavior carries an unmistakable dignity and appeal. This article outlines 12 core habits that contribute to a uniquely attractive presence, requiring little overt self-promotion. Each habit is rooted in Stoic thought, from Marcus Aurelius's reflections on moral duty, to Epictetus's insights on the nature of control, to Seneca's meditations on personal growth. Although these philosophers lived centuries ago, their words have endured because they address timeless human dilemmas: how to live well, how to master our fears, and how to engage with the world without losing ourselves. The insights they offer provide a framework for a quiet magnetism that can profoundly change the way we move through life. In the paragraphs that follow, we'll dive deeper into this dimension of silent charm, describing not only what these habits entail, but also how to put them into practice in a modern context. Each section will include references to the Stoic quotes that illuminate and reinforce the idea. Our journey will begin with an explanation of why genuine authenticity trumps any superficial attempt to be liked. Then we will explore details on the subtle ways we communicate with the world, through our clothing, through our body language, and even through intangibles like the ambiance we create around ourselves. We will likewise examine the power of empathy, humor, and an unwavering sense of independence in shaping how others perceive us. Let us begin with the foundational principle that being yourself is not only the most direct way to cultivate silent allure, but also the simplest route to true personal contentment. To launch our exploration of silent attraction, we start with habit 1, be you, that is, embrace your authentic self wholeheartedly. When we speak of authenticity, we are referring to the resolve to express our thoughts, feelings, and personal values without pretense. Many people, especially in settings that demand popularity or acceptance, succumb to the temptation to hide aspects of who they are. They might tweak their opinions to fit in, mimic the preferences of a peer group, or even stifle their unique sense of humor for fear of ridicule. However, the Stoics would caution us that such constant adaptation only leads to inner conflict and undermines our sense of identity. Marcus Aurelius, in his work Meditations, famously wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This line underscores that the most genuine source of contentment and influence comes from aligning our outward actions with our inner convictions. This form of authenticity is not always easy because it requires courage. Yet courage is one of the 4 cardinal Stoic virtues, alongside wisdom, justice, and temperance. By courage, we do not merely mean physical bravery. It is also the readiness to be vulnerable, to risk not being universally liked because you choose to honor your core values. Rather than fixating on how others perceive us, we develop the fortitude to remain consistent in our principles. This unwavering self-possession can be quietly magnetic. People sense when someone is at ease in their own skin, and that quiet self-assurance can spark genuine curiosity and admiration. When you embody authenticity, you offer the world something genuine, not a superficial facade shaped by external approval. Moreover, being true to yourself fosters deeper relationships. When you let others see who you really are, you give them a chance to connect with you on a more meaningful level. Authenticity becomes a beacon for compatible individuals who appreciate and resonate with what you value. In contrast, pretense can only attract those who are drawn to a persona. This often results in shallow bonds, unfulfilling interactions, and an overall sense of disconnection. Epictetus once advised, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This line captures the essence of authenticity by instructing us to look inward first, figure out your path, and then do the work that aligns with your deepest principles. In practical terms, authenticity might involve honestly sharing your perspective in a group discussion, despite the risk of disagreement. It could mean dressing in a style that resonates with your self-expression, rather than following every fleeting fashion. It might also entail acknowledging your mistakes openly rather than hiding them for the sake of perfection. Each such decision acts like a small vote for personal freedom. Seneca captured this sentiment when he wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." While he was referring to material possessions, the lesson applies to social validation as well. The craving for more approval, more likes, or more applause can lead us into a hollow chase. Real confidence blossoms when we learn that who we are, unfiltered, is not only enough, but compelling. Moving from inner authenticity to outward expression, we come to habit 2, style with substance. Often style is dismissed as either frivolous or purely superficial. Stoicism, however, teaches that the choices we make about our appearance, how we dress, groom, and carry ourselves, can serve as an extension of our values. Seneca was not against enjoying the good things in life. Instead, he urged moderation and intention. Just as a Stoic might encourage us to eat with balance or manage our time wisely, we can apply the same principles to how we curate our wardrobe or present ourselves to the world. For the Stoics, it is not about extravagance or chasing ephemeral trends, but about identifying garments and accessories that resonate with who we fundamentally are. Epicurus, though not a Stoic, is often quoted as saying, "Not what we have, but what we enjoy constitutes our abundance." While the Stoics had their own angles, the essence of that statement applies here as well. Style is less about possessing countless items and more about choosing them carefully for their meaningful representation of self. A well-chosen outfit or accessory can express elements of your personality in subtle yet powerful ways. Think of it not as an ostentatious display of wealth or vanity, but as an intentional reflection of your personal taste and ethos. For instance, wearing something because it aligns with your love for sustainability and quality can communicate more about your character than you might achieve with 100 spoken words. Moreover, the Stoics emphasize the idea of living in harmony with nature, and by extension, living in harmony with your own nature. Thus, if your personal inclinations lean toward minimalism, your outward style might embrace that simplicity. If, on the other hand, you have an artistic flair, you might show it through vibrant color choices or unique accessories. The critical element is coherence. Your inner identity and outer expression should match. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." Style choices become meaningful when they are orchestrated from a thoughtful mindset, one that asks, "Does this reflect my values? Or am I presenting my best self in a way that resonates with my beliefs?" When these choices are well considered and authentic, your style can quietly communicate confidence and self-respect. This tends to attract people on a deeper level because it suggests intentionality and self-awareness. It is the antithesis of empty display. If someone notices your particular choice of a simple yet elegant watch, or the subtle synergy of colors in your outfit, that interest can lead to conversations that reveal shared values or creative inclinations. The difference between shallow aesthetics and style with substance is that one is adopted merely to gain approval, while the other is chosen to express something inherent and thoughtful about who you are. This nuance is vital in Stoic thought. External goods and appearances are not problems in themselves. It is our attachment and attitude toward them that matters. The next pivotal element of silent attraction is habit 3, the silent language of the body. We communicate incessantly without uttering a single word, whether through posture, gestures, eye contact, or facial expressions. Body language can be thought of as an unspoken dialect that constantly speaks to the people around us. Epictetus admonished us to focus on what lies within our power rather than what lies outside it. Our bodies, how we choose to hold ourselves, how we breathe, how we move, are well within our domain of control. Stoic writings remind us that self-awareness remains the bedrock of personal growth, and part of that awareness involves the messages we convey physically, often unconsciously. One prime example is posture. When you stand straight, shoulders back, chin level, and chest open, you signal both self-respect and readiness. Compare that to someone who slouches with downcast eyes, projecting timidity or indifference. The difference is striking. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If you carry yourself with dignity, it reflects the state of your mind, self-assured, engaged, and awake to your surroundings. The bonus is that adopting this posture can also reinforce that mental state, creating a positive feedback loop. Body language also includes seemingly minor details like the direction of your feet, whether they are oriented toward or away from the person you are talking to, or the tilt of your head, signaling interest or disregard. Eye contact is another major component. Maintaining appropriate eye contact communicates respect, presence, and a willingness to connect. Seneca famously stated, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak, although a variation of this quote is often attributed to others as well. In nonverbal form, listening with our eyes, by focusing on the speaker, is just as crucial. A stable yet warm gaze can make someone feel genuinely heard and valued. This fosters a kind of silent rapport that leads people to trust you and open up. Conversely, avoiding eye contact can be perceived as indifference or insecurity. However, it is important to note that Stoicism is not about feigning a particular stance or expression. Instead, it teaches us to cultivate sincerity so that our inner virtues match our outward signals. As your sense of personal integrity grows, your body language becomes a natural extension of that authenticity. You neither retreat into yourself nor puff yourself up. You simply occupy the space with calm assurance. Also, body language can shift depending on context. A supportive stance in a friend's time of need may manifest as leaning closer, offering a gentle touch on the shoulder, or softening your facial expression. The hallmark of Stoic-inspired body language is mindfulness. You remain present in every interaction, allowing your gestures and expressions to serve as a genuine reflection of your innermost intentions. As we continue to explore the nonverbal dimensions of silent magnetism, we arrive at habit 4, the subtle scent of sophistication. While it might sound unexpected, our choice of fragrance, or even the natural scents we allow to come through, can have an understated yet powerful effect on those around us. Scent is intimately tied to memory and emotion, so much so that a faint whiff of a particular fragrance can transport us back to significant moments in our past. The Stoics encourage us to recognize how the physical world intersects with our mental states. Thus, even the perfumes or colognes we wear can be approached with a degree of intention and moderation. Traditionally, Stoic philosophers like Seneca did not recommend discarding all forms of luxury. Instead, they insisted on understanding the purpose behind each choice and practicing self-control. In the realm of scent, this translates to selecting a fragrance that resonates with who you are, rather than choosing one for mere trendiness or because you want to impress strangers. Is your aim to exude a sense of calming freshness, or would you rather emanate a warm, comforting essence? The effect is subtle. A carefully chosen fragrance can linger in someone's mind long after you have left the room. This is classic Stoic quiet influence, conveying an impression without the need for loud announcements. Marcus Aurelius frequently emphasized simplicity, reminding us that true contentment arises from focusing on essentials. In practice, this might mean investing in a single perfume or cologne that becomes your signature, rather than stockpiling dozens of scents that clutter your routine and dilute the sense of consistency. A signature scent makes you recognizable in a graceful way, providing a bridge between memory and connection. When people recall your presence, they might also recall the comfort, elegance, or vivacity of your chosen aroma. This fosters familiarity and a kind of silent rapport. However, Stoicism would caution against overdoing it. A subtle application ensures your fragrance whispers rather than shouts, paralleling the broader Stoic principle that modesty often speaks more loudly than ostentation. Striking the right balance helps maintain an atmosphere in which people are drawn closer, not repelled, by an overpowering scent. Moreover, connecting the act of choosing a fragrance to self-awareness can be a mindful practice in itself. By reflecting on what resonates with your personality and how different scents make you feel, you strengthen the bond between inner identity and outer expression. In this sense, the subtle scent of sophistication is far more than a superficial flourish. It is a small but significant avenue for engaging with the world in a manner consistent with Stoic composure and intentionality. Transitioning from the physical senses to the realm of social interaction, we reach habit 5, manners that mesmerize. In our age of fast-paced messaging and fleeting online exchanges, good manners can be undervalued, brushed off as archaic or unimportant. Yet the Stoics, with their focus on virtue and the practice of ethical living, would emphasize that manners are far more than superficial rituals. They are forms of kindness, respect, and empathy expressed through small, consistent actions. Epictetus famously counseled that while we cannot control external events or the behavior of others, we can control our own conduct. Manners, therefore, become a domain where we can exercise direct agency and reflect our inner virtues. Good manners encompass politeness, of course, but they also include genuine attentiveness. For instance, offering a sincere thank you is a polite gesture, but complementing it with a moment of real presence, like pausing to make eye contact, elevates a routine expression into a sincere acknowledgement of another person's effort. Seneca once wrote, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." In daily life, these opportunities abound. Holding a door for a stranger, giving a colleague undivided attention, or thoughtfully letting someone finish their sentence all reflect that your world does not revolve solely around you. This resonates with a fundamental aspect of Stoic philosophy that reminds us of our interconnectedness. We share humanity and thus share responsibility to uplift each other. The mesmerizing aspect of good manners arises because, in many social contexts, they are increasingly rare. People are often preoccupied with their phones or too hurried to practice civility. When someone encounters a person who is genuinely courteous, who listens more than they speak, who asks considerate questions, and who maintains a respectful demeanor, they remember it. Far from fading into the background, such a person stands out, but in a subdued, dignified way that fosters trust rather than clamoring for attention. Marcus Aurelius underscored the concept of living in service to the common good. Manners form part of that service, because when we engage politely, we reduce conflict, spread goodwill, and set a tone for more meaningful, empathetic interactions. Still, cultivating good manners does not require becoming overly formal or stiff. The Stoics warn us against vanity or false humility. The goal is to align what we do with genuine respect for others. This might be as simple as thoroughly listening to a friend's worries, or asking a barista how their day is going and meaning it, or offering to help a coworker who looks swamped with tasks. Each action, when performed without expectation of reward, subtly communicates that you value the person in front of you. Over time, these consistent gestures weave into a persona of graciousness that can truly mesmerize. It exemplifies the Stoic principle that the path to profound impact often lies in practicing small, daily virtues faithfully. Concluding Part 1 is Habit 6, Being Fully Present, an indispensable aspect of silent attraction. Being present involves immersing oneself in the immediate moment with undivided attention, acknowledging and engaging with what is happening in the here and now. We often hear about the value of mindfulness in modern wellness movements, but the roots of this idea stretch back to antiquity. Marcus Aurelius regularly noted the futility of worrying over past regrets or future fears, urging his readers to anchor themselves in the present as the only reality we truly inhabit. This approach forms a key part of Stoic living, focusing your mental and emotional resources on what you can actively shape, rather than dispersing them across hypotheticals or scenarios outside your sphere of influence. In practice, presence might mean placing your smartphone face down or away entirely when sharing a meal with a friend, so you are not tempted by notifications. It could manifest in carefully listening to a coworker's question until they finish, rather than mentally formulating your reply midway through their sentence. Each act of presence signals respect to the other party. They feel seen and heard, and this sense of validation builds authentic connections. Moreover, your capacity to remain present also strengthens your ability to respond thoughtfully to situations as they arise. Epictetus proposed a clear boundary between what is up to us, our thoughts, actions, and responses, and what is not up to us, external events, the actions of others, or chance. By living in the present, we direct our attention squarely onto that first category, where our agency truly resides. The Stoics recognize that presence is not purely a mental exercise, it is also reflected in our demeanor and body language. When you maintain relaxed yet attentive eye contact, people sense that you are genuinely tuned in. When you nod or offer small verbal affirmations at key moments, you signal empathy and interest. Conversely, tapping your foot anxiously or frequently glancing at your watch conveys impatience or distraction. By controlling these subtle signs, you show that you are not only physically there but mentally engaged as well. Seneca famously urged daily self-examination, advising that in the evening we should ask ourselves what we have done well, what we might have done better, and what we have learned. This introspection fosters a habit of presence that carries over into the next day. In social situations, the magnetism of presence is palpable. We gravitate toward individuals who seem genuinely attuned to us, as opposed to those who appear to be waiting for their chance to speak or who are clearly only half listening. This difference builds a unique kind of trust and warmth, a silent statement that you value the person before you enough to give them your full attention. By mastering presence, you not only nurture deeper friendships and relationships, but also minimize misunderstandings or conflicts. Emotional intelligence grows in tandem with this skill, allowing you to pick up on nuances in conversation or subtle cues that others might miss. In the end, the Stoic principle of living in accordance with nature is served here by acknowledging that the only true nature we can experience directly is what unfolds before our eyes in this very moment. As we continue our exploration, Habit 7, A Touch of Mystery, reveals another dimension of silent allure. In a world where oversharing has almost become an expectation, the act of withholding certain details, of revealing yourself gradually, can be quietly magnetic. This is not about deception or artificial mystique, but rather about pacing how you share who you are, thus inviting others to genuinely discover you in layers. Seneca stated that it is quality rather than quantity that matters, and this idea resonates powerfully when it comes to personal disclosure. Sharing too much too soon can diminish the richness of human interaction. The Stoics valued self-control, one of their 4 cardinal virtues, and this concept applies seamlessly to how we communicate our personal stories. By practicing restraint, you show an ability to govern impulses, an inherently appealing trait. It signifies that you're not seeking attention through shock value or endless personal monologues. Instead, you exercise agency in deciding which facets of your life to share. When you do open up, the conversation feels more intentional and meaningful. Gradual revelation also creates a sense of intrigue that can lead others to pay closer attention, ask more thoughtful questions, and eventually forge deeper bonds. However, the Stoics would caution against letting this approach turn into manipulative secrecy. The virtue-based ethic they champion taught that our conduct should always align with honesty and respect. A strategic silence is one thing, deliberately withholding key truths in order to deceive is another. Epictetus famously stated, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid," which highlights the need for honesty, even if it means risking judgment. The touch of mystery we discuss here is a measured approach to self-disclosure that preserves the sincerity so integral to Stoic living. In social practice, a bit of mystery might mean not airing every thought on social media or not recounting every personal anecdote in the first 10 minutes of meeting someone new. It might also entail letting a potential friend or romantic partner ask deeper questions before unveiling particularly personal experiences. If someone is drawn to you, they will seek to understand more. They will seek to understand more engaging than one-sided storytelling. A good barometer is to follow the Stoic principle of nothing in excess. If your silence feels self-serving or manipulative, you have strayed. If it promotes a respectful pacing of getting to know each other, it can enhance the sense of meaningful interaction. Over time, you'll notice that genuine connections flourish when based on a balanced sharing of experiences and personal details, allowing curiosity to unfold at a natural pace. Habit 8. Cultural wisdom might not be the first trait you associate with personal magnetism, yet it contributes significantly to silent attraction. Cultural wisdom means developing an awareness and appreciation of diverse traditions, languages, histories, and ways of life. The Stoics, particularly the Roman empires like Marcus Aurelius, lived at a time when the Roman Empire encompassed a wide variety of people and customs. Their philosophical writings underscore a sense of common humanity, urging us to recognize that while differences exist, a shared moral fabric binds us together as individuals. We are all fellow citizens of one world, Marcus Aurelius might say in modern parlance, reflecting the idea that broad understanding fosters empathy and unity. Cultivating cultural wisdom does not require extensive travel or advanced academic study. It can be as simple as reading literature from different cultures, watching films in foreign languages, or learning about traditions that differ from your own. This openness invites you to expand your horizons, thereby making you a more adaptable and curious conversationalist. When you meet someone from a different background, showing genuine interest or having even a basic familiarity with their customs can spark a feeling of respect and closeness. That sense of recognition, of having one's heritage acknowledged, often encourages deeper, more meaningful dialogue. This is silent attraction at work. You don't need to make grand gestures. Your thoughtful awareness speaks volumes. In today's environment, showing cultural wisdom can also help you navigate potentially contentious topics with empathy. By understanding the context behind certain viewpoints or traditions, you're better equipped to discuss issues with nuance. Seneca reminded us to consider every problem in the light of your own end, suggesting that examining life from multiple angles is central to wisdom. In a similar fashion, acknowledging the lens of culture can de-escalate tensions or misconceptions in conversations that might otherwise become heated. While your original goal might not be conflict resolution, demonstrating this broadened perspective naturally draws people to you. They sense a maturity in your discourse, a willingness to see beyond personal biases. Moreover, cultural wisdom is intrinsically linked to humility. The more you learn about the world, the more you realize how much remains unknown. This awareness fosters a quiet modesty that the Stoics would champion, as it aligns with their call for lifelong learning. Epictetus told his students, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. If you maintain a posture of constant curiosity, you'll never stagnate, and your interactions will reflect that vitality." This is exceptionally appealing on a subconscious level, as people are naturally drawn to individuals who exude the warmth that comes with open-mindedness. Instead of imposing your viewpoint, you invite dialogue. Instead of rushing to judge, you display curiosity, giving others space to express themselves. Next, we delve into Habit 9, the heartbeat of compassion, a principle deeply woven into the Stoic understanding of our shared human experience. Compassion involves empathizing with others' challenges, pains, and joys. Far from being a passive state of pity, genuine compassion is an active force that motivates us to offer support and kindness where possible. Seneca taught that wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for a kindness. This underscores the notion that compassion is not reserved for special occasions. It can be a daily practice, a way of being in the world that touches everything you do. In many modern contexts, compassion might be misunderstood as softness or weakness, but the Stoics present a more robust view. They recognize the necessity of emotional intelligence in bridging the gap between individuals, tribes, and even nations. Marcus Aurelius wrote about how we should view each other as limbs of the same body. If one limb is in pain, the entire organism suffers. Extending compassion, therefore, becomes a way to maintain the well-being of the larger collective. From a silent attraction standpoint, compassion radiates a serene warmth. Those who encounter you sense that you view them not as instruments to be used, but as fellow travelers on the path of life. That sense of mutual respect and consideration can be quietly mesmerizing. People are instinctively drawn to those who are empathetic and non-judgmental. Cultivating this compassion does not require massive acts of charity, although philanthropic efforts, if done sincerely, certainly resonate with Stoic generosity. More commonly, it emerges in small, consistent gestures. Checking on a friend who is going through stress, sparing a moment to help a colleague with an unfamiliar task, or even offering a comforting word to a stranger who seems upset. Epictetus often urged his students to practice humility and to recognize their own fallibility, which naturally fosters empathy for others. When you grasp that you are susceptible to error and misfortune, you become less inclined to judge and more inclined to assist. This supportive stance does not equate to ignoring your own boundaries or well-being. In fact, Stoic practice emphasizes the need for self-care and personal responsibility. Instead, it suggests that you balance self-respect with regard for the greater good, demonstrating compassion in alignment with your capacities. The synergy between compassion and silent attraction manifests in the way you hold space for others. When conversing, you genuinely listen before offering advice or solutions. In conflict, you focus on understanding underlying needs rather than hurling accusations. These behaviors build trust and encourage reciprocity. People feel safer, more at ease, and more open in your presence. Over time, your consistent compassion weaves a tapestry of relationships that are stronger, richer, and more supportive. In line with Stoic ideals, it acknowledges that each of us is on a learning journey, grappling with challenges we may not fully articulate. Compassion thus becomes both an ethical principle and a social magnet, quietly shaping how others perceive and respond to you. Habit 10. Laughter, the best medicine. Might appear to clash with the stereotypical image of Stoics as stern and unemotional. However, a deeper understanding reveals that Stoics valued joy and even humor, so long as it was grounded in virtue and never at the expense of human dignity. Seneca remarked, "It does not matter how many times you twist and turn to produce smiles and laughter, if by doing so you lose the respect that virtue commands." This clarifies that laughter is encouraged within the bounds of respect, authenticity, and kindness. It should uplift rather than degrade. Laughter possesses a distinct charm because it operates as a social glue. Scientific studies have repeatedly shown that shared laughter promotes bonding and improves group cohesion. On an interpersonal level, exchanging a joke at the right moment can alleviate tension, break the ice, or create a sense of camaraderie. From a silent attraction viewpoint, humor can be an underappreciated superpower. It conveys emotional intelligence, the ability to see lightness even amid daily stress. It's also a marker of creativity, suggesting you can forge unexpected mental links, whether through puns, wit, or playful banter. In Stoic practice, laughter resonates with the principle of living in the present. When you truly laugh, you are immersed in that moment's joy, unburdened by regrets or anxieties. Marcus Aurelius alluded to the fleeting nature of life and encouraged cherishing its bright intervals. Laughter can serve as a microcosm of that approach. It interrupts the usual rumination that weighs on our minds and instead fosters a break in which we can breathe and share a lighter spirit with others. An environment enriched by timely, respectful humor tends to be more inviting, forging deeper connections among the participants. We should be mindful, though, of Stoic caution around extremes. Laughing at or ridiculing someone is unproductive and violates the Stoic virtue of justice. Even self-deprecating humor can slip into a form of disguised self-contempt if overused. The ideal, from a Stoic perspective, is to harness laughter as an expression of goodwill and shared humanity. If you can help others see the comedy in frustrating situations without undermining genuine concerns, or if you can gently poke fun at universal human foibles, you not only elevate the mood but also show empathy. In sum, laughter becomes a harmonious blend of levity and respect, a shining demonstration that living virtuously need not mean living joylessly. The quiet yet transformative power of a shared laugh can linger in someone's memory, prompting them to recall how they felt light-hearted and accepted in your company, an enduring hallmark of silent attraction. Shifting the focus from outward relationships to the responsibility we hold for our own well-being, Habit 11, the art of self-care, is a critical element of Stoic-inspired magnetism. We often associate self-care with pampering, like spa days or indulgent treats, but the Stoics offer a more disciplined, multifaceted framework. Epictetus insisted that we must cultivate self-mastery, which includes caring for our bodies, minds, and moral dimension. Indeed, how can we possibly be of service to others or remain consistent in our values if we're perpetually exhausted, stressed, or overwhelmed? Self-care, from a Stoic point of view, ensures we have the physical energy and mental clarity to walk the talk of virtue. Caring for the body might include maintaining a balanced diet, engaging in regular exercise suited to your personal needs, and ensuring sufficient rest. Marcus Aurelius suggested that while the body is subject to the vicissitudes of fate, illness, injury, aging, it is still our duty to manage what we can. This parallels a broader Stoic principle. Direct your efforts toward what is within your power. Meanwhile, mental self-care may involve reading enriching books, meditating on philosophical insights, or practicing mindfulness to maintain emotional equilibrium. Seneca recommended dedicating each day to some form of reflection, writing, or contemplative thought, to keep the mind agile and self-aware. Equally important is emotional self-care. This goes beyond fleeting affirmations and instead requires a regular check-in with yourself. Are you harboring resentments? Are you overwhelmed by regrets? A Stoic practice might involve dissecting these feelings to see where they originate and how you can address them in a constructive manner. Merely suppressing emotions is not the Stoic way. The goal is to understand them, glean any valuable signals they carry, and then either resolve or release them. This introspection fosters an inner calm, a clarity that others can sense. When you are at peace with yourself, you exude a serene self-possession that can be extraordinarily compelling, even in silence. Moreover, maintaining boundaries is a facet of self-care too. If you consistently sacrifice your well-being to please others, your energy reserves will deplete, and your capacity to engage meaningfully will suffer. Stoicism suggests a balanced approach to social obligations. Contribute to the common good without neglecting your own vitality. Overextending can lead to resentment, burnout, and deterioration in the quality of your contributions. By respecting your own limits, you actually become more effective and stable in your roles. Thus, self-care in the Stoic sense is not a retreat into selfishness. Rather, it is an affirmation that you have a duty to preserve and enhance your capabilities to remain a constructive, principled presence in your community. We now arrive at Habit 12, the allure of independence, a quality that captures the essence of self-sufficiency and personal freedom. For the Stoics, independence is not about isolation or detachment from society. Rather, it is the ability to stand on your own feet, psychologically, ethically, and emotionally. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This line distills the idea that genuine freedom arises when we recognize what is within our control, our thoughts, decisions, and responses, and relinquish attachment to outcomes that lie beyond our direct influence. When someone embodies this principle, it radiates a potent form of confidence that does not rely on external validation. Consider how appealing it is to meet someone who doesn't clamor for attention or reassurance, who can maintain composure in the face of uncertainty, and who owns their choices instead of blaming or depending on others for every twist and turn in life. This person is not emotionally aloof. Rather, they engage with others from a place of self-empowerment. They walk alongside companions, partners, and colleagues voluntarily, not out of necessity. This dynamic fosters relationships built on respect, mutual benefit, and genuine affection rather than on codependency or fear. In conversations, such individuals often appear calm and open-minded. Because their sense of self-worth isn't tethered to pleasing everyone, they can afford to listen and consider others' perspectives more generously. Yet, Stoic independence isn't about being stubbornly rigid. Seneca encouraged flexibility, noting that life's unpredictable nature calls for adaptability. True independence, therefore, is the capacity to hold your ground in essential matters, like your ethical beliefs, while remaining agile enough to change course when reason and wisdom dictate. A person who exhibits this kind of adaptability, combined with strong internal convictions, displays a resilience that can be quietly awe-inspiring. They don't need to bark orders or loudly proclaim their competence. Instead, they show it through consistent, reasoned action. In modern life, the allure of independence can also be demonstrated through practical self-sufficiency. Handling your personal finances responsibly, for instance, or acquiring life skills like cooking, basic repairs, or investing in personal health underscores this theme. Such competence is a nonverbal statement that you are capable of looking after your essential needs. This fosters trust in personal and professional relationships. People sense that you are a resource, not a liability, someone who can contribute rather than merely consume. Epictetus might put it this way: first, learn who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly. In other words, understand your innate strength and limitations and then shape your life with those realities in mind, remaining steadfastly independent, yet open to learning. As we conclude this comprehensive look at the 12 habits that form the backbone of silent attraction, it becomes clear that each habit is far from superficial. From authenticity and intentional style to presence and independence, these qualities resonate with Stoic philosophy at its finest. The Stoics recognize that our capacity to influence and connect with others ultimately stems from the pursuit of virtue, defined as living in alignment with reason, moral principles, and nature itself. By embracing these habits, you don't merely cultivate a more compelling personal aura, you chart a path toward living more fully and ethically. Think of each habit as a piece of mosaic tile. On its own, one habit, like dressing with substance or mastering nonverbal cues, might improve a specific aspect of your life. However, when you integrate all 12 in synergy, you create a holistic tapestry of character that stands out without resorting to loud declarations. People may not be able to put their finger on precisely why they are drawn to you, but they will sense a coherent, grounded presence. This presence, forged by a commitment to authentic living and quiet self-mastery, is extraordinarily powerful. Even if you never utter a word about Stoicism, you will be demonstrating its enduring wisdom every day in how you carry yourself. Yet living by these precepts is an ongoing journey. Seneca advised continuous self-reflection and recognized that true mastery requires both patience and consistency. A single slip does not define you, nor does a single triumph. Rather, it is the accumulated effect of daily actions that eventually shapes your reputation and your internal sense of integrity. In that regard, silent attraction is not an endpoint but a process, a worthwhile discipline that reveals its richness over time. Each interaction offers an opportunity to practice one or more of these habits. Each setback becomes a lesson in resilience and introspection. Each success an occasion for gratitude and renewed commitment. Finally, remember that silent attraction is not about manipulative tactics or secret strategies to dominate social scenes. Instead, it's about aligning your life with virtues that bring you genuine fulfillment and, almost incidentally, make you deeply appealing to others. Marcus Aurelius sums it up beautifully when he suggests that genuine peace is found through living in agreement with nature, fulfilling your roles with integrity, and recognizing that how you think and act is always within your domain. Apply this mindful approach to each of the 12 habits, and you'll find that your silent presence can speak louder than any words ever could. Before we fully wrap up, it's worth taking a moment to reflect on the enduring relevance of these Stoic-inspired habits in our modern world. Some might question whether insights from philosophers who lived centuries ago can still hold water in an era defined by digital connectivity and rapid change. Yet the human psyche has not drastically shifted in its fundamental needs. We still crave purpose, connection, understanding, and a sense of mastery over our circumstances. Stoicism addresses these universal yearnings by highlighting what remains constant despite societal transformations: our ability to govern our own minds, choose our reactions, and shape our moral conduct. The reason silent attraction stands out in modern settings is precisely because we're inundated with noise, both literally and metaphorically. Social media platforms promote relentless self-promotion. Reality TV dramatizes conflict, and the marketing world thrives on sensational headlines. Within that clamor, a person who is calmly self-assured, attentive, compassionate, and thoughtful is like a breath of fresh air. Their impact, though subtle, can be more enduring than that of someone who seizes attention through spectacle alone. Epictetus's notion of focusing on what we can control resonates strongly here. Rather than getting caught up in the frantic pursuit of digital validation, likes, shares, and fleeting online fame, we can remain grounded by centering our personal development and forging meaningful one-on-one connection. Additionally, Stoicism invites us to adopt a global perspective, relevant in today's highly interconnected world. Habit 8, cultural wisdom, ties directly into our modern multi-ethnic, multicultural societies, where being culturally fluent can help you navigate differences more gracefully and connect with people from diverse backgrounds. This is not an outdated skill, but an increasingly vital one. Likewise, the emphasis on compassion in Habit 9 becomes critical in an era where social media often amplifies divisive rhetoric. Engaging with empathy and clarity can offset the negativity that thrives in online echo chambers. By doing so, you not only distinguish yourself as a voice of reason, but also widen the circle of constructive dialogue that fosters real solutions and healing. In essence, these habits are not time-bound. They speak to aspects of human nature that are perennial: the search for genuineness, Habit 1, the yearning for respectful communication, Habit 5, or the aspiration for self-mastery, Habits 11 and 12. By presenting the Stoic approach in a modern context, we see its abiding capacity to refine our character and enhance the quality of our relationships. The result is a quiet but potent allure that can open doors professionally, socially, and personally without descending into shallow performance. To integrate these 12 habits into daily life, start modestly. Pick one habit, such as being fully present, Habit 6, and devote a week or two to tracking your progress. Make a deliberate effort to eliminate multitasking in conversations. Put the phone away during meals, and practice mindful listening. Notice how people respond to this shift, and also observe how it influences your own mental state. If you see positive changes, you have your proof of concept. Adopting Stoic principles can indeed transform your day-to-day experiences. From there, move on to another habit, maybe cultivating a touch of mystery, habit 7, and see if you can refrain from oversharing personal details without sacrificing openness in your relationship. You might keep a small journal to reflect on your successes, identify stumbling blocks, and remind yourself of relevant Stoic quotes that reinforce each habit. Seneca's letters are a treasure trove of practical wisdom for those who enjoy reading. Meanwhile, others may prefer short reflection exercises such as the Stoic practice of negative visualization, imagining life without certain comforts to heighten appreciation, or the practice of writing daily moral check-ins. What did I do well today? What will I aim to improve tomorrow? By weaving Stoic insights into your routine, these habits become more than ideals on paper. They morph into tangible, lived practices. For those who desire deeper immersion, consider exploring structured activities like Stoic communities online, reading groups, or even local gatherings that celebrate philosophical discussions. Sometimes hearing how others interpret and apply Stoic concepts expands your own understanding. Engaging in discussions also helps refine your articulation of these ideas, thereby reinforcing them in your mind. The more you embed Stoic reflections into your real-world actions, the more these 12 habits mesh seamlessly with your lifestyle. Perhaps the most important step is internalizing the motivation behind these habits. They are not cunning social strategies for manipulating others. They are building blocks for personal integrity, rooted in love for humanity and respect for oneself. When your intentions align with ethical living, seeking wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance, the synergy becomes powerful. People sense your authenticity, your depth of thought, and your grounded presence. In some ways, the term attraction might even be misleading, as though you were simply wanting to draw people to you. The deeper truth is that by living in alignment with these Stoic-guided habits, you not only enrich your own life, but also enhance the shared spaces in which you move, inviting richer and more harmonious connections. No transformative path is without obstacles, and Stoicism acknowledges this reality with characteristic frankness. Embracing silent attraction via these 12 habits might face hurdles. Modern work cultures often reward assertive self-promotion, overshadowing the quiet approach. Family or friends might be puzzled by your new manner of measured speech or your emphasis on introspection, hinting that you've become aloof or secretive. Even your own ingrained habits can be challenging to break, especially if you've spent years feeling uneasy with silence or compelled to be the loudest voice in every setting. Stoics remind us that persistence is key. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." This daily renewal of intention can act as a balm against discouragement. Additionally, it helps to remember that the success of these practices doesn't rely on abrupt, dramatic transformations. Rather, consistency over time yields the most lasting shifts. For instance, if your environment truly demands more overt displays of capability, you can still adapt while staying grounded in Stoic principles, demonstrating your competencies without resorting to flamboyance or dishonesty. The potential for misunderstanding also arises. Others might mistake your thoughtful stillness for disinterest, or your measured self-disclosure for coyness. Clear communication can mitigate these pitfalls. Let people know you value their perspectives, even if you're not immediately jumping into the conversation. Or if you need space to reflect before responding, Gently mention that you like to gather your thoughts. Over time, as they see you consistently show empathy, generosity, and competence, many will come to appreciate this alternative approach. Remember, Epictetus pointed out that we can't always sway others' opinions, but we can remain true to our guiding principles. If we do so with integrity and open-heartedness, others are likelier to adjust their initial impressions. Ultimately, facing adversity can deepen your commitment. Challenges become exercises in fortifying your resolve, reminding you why you embarked on this path in the first place. Seneca wrote in his letters about adversity being a great teacher. If your quiet approach to attraction sometimes goes unnoticed or seems undervalued, use that disappointment to refine your techniques and re-examine your expectations. Perhaps you realize that you were seeking too much external acknowledgement and need to reaffirm your focus on living ethically rather than impressing people. Such reflections reinforce the Stoic practice of frequent self-examination, ensuring that your motivations remain pure and your methods remain aligned with virtue. The concepts laid out in these 12 habits have profound implications in professional and leadership contexts. Picture a leader who listens carefully in meetings, only speaking when they have genuinely valuable input to offer. Such a leader respects each team member's contribution, fosters an environment of trust, and rarely needs to raise their voice to command respect. This stands in stark contrast to the archetype of a domineering, self-absorbed boss who might secure short-term results but ultimately fosters resentment and high turnover. By applying Stoic calm, empathy, and presence at work, you can carve out a path to sustainable influence. Even in occupations that rely on self-promotion like sales or entrepreneurship, Stoicism doesn't demand that you remain invisible or refrain from praising your products and services. Rather, it dictates honesty, transparency, and a focus on truly meeting others' needs. When this is combined with the subtleties of silent attraction, consistency, compassion, cultural awareness, people will trust that your enthusiasm isn't just hot air. They'll sense a grounded sincerity that often trumps flashy gimmicks in building long-term professional relationships. The Stoic emphasis on proactive problem-solving further cements this trust, as you remain calm under pressure and focus on rational decision-making. Collegial interactions also benefit from these habits. If you're known as the coworker who is both respectful and quietly confident, peers are likely to approach you for advice, collaboration, or just a listening ear. By not overshadowing others with incessant self-focus, you leave space for collective growth. This environment often leads to synergy and innovation. People feel safe sharing their ideas when they're not worried about being undermined or dismissed. Marcus Aurelius might observe that by respecting each limb of the organizational body, you enhance the health of the whole. In short, silent attraction can bolster morale, creativity, and a sense of mutual respect, whether you're a team member or a leader. Lastly, professional networking, frequently driven by quick pitches and superficial interactions, can be approached more philosophically. You might attend events but focus on asking meaningful questions, actively listening, and offering genuine compliments when appropriate. Over time, you build a reputation as someone who is thoughtful and considerate, rather than just another face handing out business cards. The Stoic approach to networking is slow, measured, and built on real connections. While you might collect fewer contacts at each gathering, those you do connect with often become more reliable, mutually supportive relationships. This again exemplifies the principle of quality over quantity. Reflecting on the long-term impact of consistently applying these 12 habits, one can see how they form the underpinnings of a life well lived. Seneca taught that the quality of our days, not just their length, determines the value of our lives. The silent attraction we cultivate through Stoic-informed habits not only enhances personal relationships in the moment, but also shapes the legacy we leave behind. How do people remember us? Was it for loud achievements that quickly fade, or for the quietly principled manner in which we conducted ourselves day after day? Over time, people often realize the difference between fleeting charm and unwavering character. The latter, born from steadfast commitment to virtue, has a certain durability that outlasts trends, crises, and passing conflicts. As you persist in these practices, embracing authenticity, showing empathy, exercising mindful presence, you accrue a reputation for integrity. This reputation becomes a form of social capital that can open doors in subtle yet powerful ways, from being recommended for opportunities to being entrusted with important tasks. More importantly, it shapes how you see yourself. In moments of solitude, you'll know you've acted in alignment with your highest ideals, and that knowledge breeds a quiet confidence. In the Stoic worldview, legacy is not purely about external accolades. It is intertwined with the notion of living rightly. You can't control how others will speak of you after you're gone, but you can control whether you have lived a life aligned with reason, virtue, and compassion. That, ironically, can create the most resonant legacy. A memory of someone who was calm in adversity, supportive in community, and consistent in principle. Such a person leaves a ripple effect on families, friendships, workplaces, and broader networks, influencing how others choose to behave. When your silent attraction resonates, it does more than draw people in. It can inspire them to embody similar values. There is also a profound sense of freedom in living this way, freed from the shackles of trying to be everything to everyone, or from contorting yourself to fit fleeting trends. You exist in a space of honest self-acceptance. You embrace an approach that neither demands external permission nor yields to external demands. This unshakable self-possession, founded on the Stoic principle that your mind and moral choices are your true domain, can be the ultimate gift to yourself. It bestows a peace that no external success or worldly validation can replicate. As our journey through the 12 habits of silent attraction concludes, remember that Stoicism is not an abstract theory, but a practical guide to living a fulfilled life. The real measure of its power will manifest in your day-to-day actions. How you speak, how you listen, how you choose to conduct yourself when no one is watching. Each habit, from being fully present to embodying independence, provides a pathway for consistent, meaningful engagement with the world. This approach does not eradicate personal challenges or guarantee universal admiration. Rather, it equips you with the resilience, ethical grounding, and clarity of purpose to navigate life's inevitable trials while preserving your sense of self. Continue to self-reflect, continue to refine how you demonstrate each habit, and continue to appreciate the small transformations that accumulate over time. Such an outlook is inherently growth-oriented. As Epictetus taught, every situation is an opportunity to learn and to practice virtue. When daily life is approached as a series of lessons rather than drudgery, even setbacks become stepping stones for deeper character development. It's this unwavering commitment to bettering oneself, quietly and steadfastly, that others find so compelling. People may feel calm around you, trust you, and be drawn to your authenticity, all without your having to advertise or push for recognition. In closing, if you resonate with these ideas, keep the conversation alive. Share them with friends, discuss them in groups, or simply journal about your progress. Reflect on what Seneca so beautifully imparted. As is a tale, so is life. Not how long it is, but how good it is what matters. The goodness emerges from your pursuit of wisdom, kindness, fortitude, and self-discipline. The pillars of Stoic philosophy. Let your actions, rooted in these qualities, speak for you. In a noisy world, that quiet yet enduring echo stands out in a way no mere volume could ever achieve. Thank you for taking the time to explore these expanded perspectives on silent attraction. May your journey be illuminated by the calm confidence and purposeful resilience that the Stoics championed. Conscious, cipher, thylostician, antipode, latinomate, or capitus, litania, ineffective, real. As we close this journey into the fascinating power of silent attraction, picture your life as the hero of your own epic story, one where each subtle gesture, authentic moment, and thoughtful silence speaks louder than words ever could. Adopting these timeless Stoic habits isn't just about becoming socially magnetic, it's about reshaping your reality into one that reflects genuine strength, inner peace, and effortless charm. In my own experience, embracing these principles has profoundly elevated the quality of my relationships and overall happiness, and I believe they hold the same potential for you. Now the story shifts to you. What habit resonated with you most? Have you already experienced the power of silent influence? Share your insights in the comments below, and let's continue this exciting dialogue. Together we'll discover how subtle changes can create blockbuster transformations in our lives.